Hi, this is Jim Walker with Jim Walker Archery, and today we're going to talk about gap shooting. Again, I love it. It's my favorite topic. So what gap shooting is all about, finding your gap. So in this particular case, I'm going to start quick. I'm aiming at this point, and my gap is here at 10 yards. So when I shoot from 10 yards, I'm aiming here, and that's where I'm hitting. So that's my gap for 10 yards. So I can go anywhere in the world, and if I know my gap, I can point at a X number of inches below the target and hit my target. So a few little tools and tips when you're training your gap training is simple enough. I like to bring a piece of string. So this is actually a piece of string that is marked off in every 3 inches, and then 1 foot and 18 inches. Most everyone knows how long a foot is. So I always say, train your gap shooting by the foot and 3 inches, and I'll explain. So here's an example of where I have my aiming point for my gap is here, and the distance that I'm actually going to hit gap-wise is, using my handy-dandy string, is almost exactly 12 inches. Now with gap shooting, you don't need to be in the half inches or the 2 inches or the 1 inch, every 3, keep it simple. So if I'm going to shoot at 10 yards, then I know that if I shoot 12 inches or 1 foot below the target, I'm likely going to hit the target. Pretty close. So in this particular case, if I want to hit the dead center of this target, I'm going to drop my gap 12 inches. So here's my point. 12 inches is here. So I know that 12 inches is right there. So brought a little tape with me just to make it clear for you. 12 inches below center is here. So there we go. So I now know that my gap is 12 inches based on my string. And again, doesn't have to be exact. It's pretty much just 12-ish inches. So I'm going to shoot here. Then if my gap is correct, I will hit here. Well, here we go. Okay, so it actually looks like I hit something. So a couple good shots, one little off, but notice the gap. It's still on the same line, and that's what's really important. When you're getting your gap shooting down, your whole goal is to find the point for your distance. So mine happens to be 12 inches between where I aim, that's the gap starting, and where it hits, the gap ending. So that's about all there is to it when it comes to gap shooting. Now gap shooting is pretty fun because you can do a lot of things with it. I'm even going to show you a little trick that I sometimes use just to kind of remind myself. Now everything that I do when I shoot is related to 12 inches or 1 foot. And I think anyone can learn the distance between 1 foot at most any range. And one way to do that is to take a card, like this hard card, and then actually put a marker on your target that is 12 inches, and then take your card, and then at different distances, note how far your eye sees that 12 inches. So for instance, let's see if you can zoom in on this. So in this case, what it says is at the bottom of the card is at 5 yards, that is how far 12 inches appears to me. Now, what I mean by that is that when I am 5 yards away, which is where I'm at right about now, when I put this card in front of me and put this particular point at the bottom of the target, or at the target itself, I can slide up or down, and it'll show me approximately where 12 inches is. It's kind of hard to describe. At 25 yards, 1 foot is very small. So this is a little trick I sometimes use to train myself on what 12 inches is. One foot will look different, obviously, at different distances, but you can gauge it, what 12 inches is, either by the things around you or by using a card like this. So in this case, I know that this particular target, this particular type of target, is from one point to the other is roughly 9 inches. So it's roughly 9 inches between here and there. And so you can learn your targets. If you're into target shooting and the targets are of a fixed type like this, you know that the distance between here and here is 9 inches. And so obviously, if I am going to attempt to shoot at this, and this is 9 inches, then I'm just going to aim 3 inches below to get my 12. 9, 10, 11, 12. Wow, pretty simple, huh? Well, that's really it. That's about all there is to using a card like I just showed you and learning your 12s. If you learn your 12, that's really helpful when you're shooting 3D. For instance, and you can't see it in this picture, but I'm standing above a bale, and that bale is 15 inches high. Most bales are in the 12, 15 inch high range. So if I have bales around me, then at any distance I know that bale is 15 inches high, so I can kind of use that to gauge where I'm going to put the point of my arrow for my gap. I know, it's pretty crazy, but it's really that easy. Gap shooting is pretty straightforward. So again, all I did here was brought a piece of string and a little bit of tape to show you how to do it. I recommend trying the card method because it's very exact and you can go to different ranges and you can see how far 12 looks to your eye. So that's all I'd like to talk about today is gap shooting and using a gap card. So I hope you found this very helpful, and if you didn't, well, put some comments and we'll talk about it. So, let you go. Jim Walker with Jim Walker Archery. Have a wonderful day. Okay, let's have a little fun. We're going to shoot at that moving target over there. Okay, and remember, we brought our string. So we're going to go ahead and figure out the gap for our moving target, and then we're going to shoot there. Remember, my gap is roughly 12 inches. So here we go. Here is the center of my moving target. 12 inches happens to be right here. So if I shoot right here below my moving target, I'm going to hit it every time. Let's do it. Check that out. Simple as that. And all I did was point the tip of my arrow right here, and I hit the moving target. It's not that hard. Now I can do this at different ranges as well. So my gap for a longer distance might be smaller, and so that's all part of the calculation. Gap shooting is not hard. Find your inches, find your 12, shoot, and have fun. All right, take care and have a wonderful day.